actually work with our React components, okay, and then if possible use it to build a site. Now React is a JavaScript library that is used to create front-end applications, okay, like websites that are user interactive on the user's interface. So we want to dive deeper into React and see how React is slightly different from our HTML pages we were creating. First of all, React is dynamic, okay? It displays dynamic content, so it makes it easy for you to actually create websites that can have data or its interface change based on a content is retrieving from an API or a database. That is the advantage React has, or a dynamic page has, over a static page. So since React is used to build dynamic websites, we want to actually look at all the power or the tools it has that can give us that ability to do that. And then it also have reusable components, which means that you can create one thing and then use that same one thing at different places, unlike HTML where every page needs that same structure, that same elements to be able to actually display that interface on every page or the pages you want to display them on. React only requires you to put that code, so it becomes like a reusable code. You put it in a component and then you call this component at wherever place you want to call it, as many times as you want to call it. So you don't have to put in that same code in every page. No, you don't do that. You only call the component and then that will be all. So we want to dive deep into that, but then a little review on this particular section here. Like I mentioned yesterday, the node modules are all the libraries, the files that supports what you are actually building in React, okay? Any new libraries you install would be installed directly into this node modules folder. So it is a very huge content. It's a very huge thing. You don't normally touch it. You don't do anything to these modules. The only thing is to just install. When you finish installing, you come to your pages and start calling, importing them and then using them, right? The only time, again, the only time you would come into the node modules to do anything is when probably a library or a file you installed is conflicting with your application and you want to uninstall the process. Now we have talked about how to install, but then we did not talk about how to uninstall a library. So in our terminal, if you want to uninstall, you just issue this command npm uninstall, okay, and then the name of the this thing, library or the file you want to uninstall, okay? So the name of the file you want to uninstall. So let us look at the files that we have installed. You don't check them from here, but then you actually check them from the package.json file. This is where the files you have installed would be sitting. So we'll just come into the dependencies portion, and then you see these are the current files we have installed currently, okay? We'll be using another library, and so let us use that to demonstrate what I'm talking about here, how to install and uninstall. So let's go to the control and then the backtick to open up the terminal window, and then you can see we don't have React icons here. We'll be using React icons, okay? we don't have React icons here, so we want to install that in the dependency. So what we will do is that we just go and then issue that command npm install or I, then you see React dash icons. So we want to install React dash icons. That is the library we want to install. Let me expand it a little bit. So there is a library we are installing called React icons, and we are installing it into the dependencies, right? Good. When I hit enter, it will start installing the React icons. So you can also install the React icons. After it's installed, you will see it show up. So we are installing this library, okay? npm I for install, and then React icons. And immediately it's installed, you will see it added to the dependencies here. I hope you are also installing yours. It's almost done. It says complete, right? So it would finalize, but then you can see React icons has been added, and currently the version 5.2.1 is what has been installed, and automatically it added it to this place by itself in the dependencies, right? It added it to the dependencies. So good. So it's completed installing the React icons library. So we have it here. Now let's say, assuming you want to uninstall the library, which I wouldn't want to do now because it took a while to install, I'll just simply say npm uninstall, okay? Then I'll say React dash icons. That's all. The name of that library you have installed or you want to uninstall comes. So npm uninstall, but to install you say npm install, right? So to uninstall you say npm uninstall, and then the library name. Then it installs it on your system. There are some more we'll be installing later, so make sure you install this one. Good. The next thing we also want to look at is that anytime we want to execute our page and then see how our page looks like, we would be using the, again, let me bring this up. So let's go to Google, open your browser, let's go to Google. The React icons we have just installed, we can search for the React, okay, icons from Google here, and when you click on React icons, when you go to React icons and click on it, the first option that shows up, you can see the icons here. Now we have different types of icons you can add, you can use, okay? But then I'm looking at the React icons themselves, and then we have here the flat color icons. We can use the flat color icons, and so when I click on that, it would show, because it's colored, yeah, so it will show the colored icons here. You see, there are quite a number of them. And then when you go into the other categories too, we have the bootstrap icons, we have font awesome icons. They are all there. This is it, font awesome icons. But then the way you add them is slightly different from, even though you can use the old method, but then React also have a specific way of adding it, which we'll be looking at, okay? So when you learn how to do the React methods or how to add those icons, it wouldn't be necessary for you to go back to the normal HTML references we have been using to actually import and then add icons to our interface. So you can see some more icons are here, and so it all comes from the React icons /bx, but then the other one comes from FC also, yeah, the React icons FC. So let's keep this page open. We'll be coming here to pick some icons from here. And then I was also talking about how you can run your scripts. If you want to test your scripts or your pages as you build them, you would be using the npm command to run these scripts. So the script starts with what? We have this parameters values here, which is start, build, test, and eject. So we'll use the start to actually start and test the project. So let's say I want to do this. I'll say npm start, okay? You can also say npm run start, and it will all work the same way. So let's go in there. Let me bring this also here. It's likely we'll be using that also. Now my page has still not loaded yet. It says something is already running on port 3000. So let me see. So let me disconnect this one. But then once it's running on port 3000, you can still be able to run the other one using a different port. So it says, would you like to run the app on another port instead? When I say yes, then it will run it on another port. But since I have closed the other one, let me just rerun this again. So when I rerun, it will run on port 3000 as it is. So if you are creating multiple different projects and you want to run them all at the same time, you can just tell it, and then instead of 3000, it will do it 3001, right? And so on. So depending on the number of instances you have, then it would create those number of instances for you based on the last values, okay? So we are testing our page.